So I'm just taking the wrapper off, and as I said, it's a wonderful wrapper. The interesting thing I've noticed actually about this cigar, and it's a bit of a, whether it's a pleasant surprise or an interesting observation, is the fact that the cigar already comes pre-cut, and this is what the boys at Cigarsindia said, that all the cigars that they've had from the private selection, or this particular vitola, they already come pre-cut, so that's very handy if you don't have a cutter or you don't want to use a knife or anything to open it. So it's pre-cut, which is a bit of a shame because I was really hoping, and forgive the product placement here, hoping to use this Tonio Lamborghini cigar cutter with this particular cigar. It comes in a very nice package. Sorry, we will return to normal service shortly, but I was quite intrigued by this lighter to begin with. Very stylishly made. I think pull it down and you have a double guillotine cutter. I think it looks very sharp, and anyway, it's a shame, but can't use that. Let's use the pre-cut. It looks like it's a punch cut cigar, so they haven't actually cut the complete end of the capota. They've just punched a hole in it. And generally I don't like to do that because I like to have a fully open cut with the cigar because a lot more of the smoke, volume of smoke actually comes through, and it, for me, also produces a cooler burn. Whereas with a punch cut like this, I would only use that for short filler or medium filler cigars, simply to stop the bits of tobacco getting stuck in my teeth. So this has an advantage. You won't get bits of tobacco stuck in your teeth, but having said that, this is a long filler tobacco anyway, so you shouldn't encounter that problem in the first place. The drawback is that it actually tends to concentrate the heat and maybe some of the oils as well. You get this slick kind of quality coming on your lips towards the middle and end of the cigar. That means that the oils are concentrated in the cigar. So that's a drawback, but let's see how it goes like this anyway. The smell is just wonderful. It just smells aged, it smells very mellow, and it smells, you could say, archetypally Dominican. Mild, mellow, no unpleasant, harsh characters, very well constructed. Generally they do, if they're straight out of the box, people have said that they can be on the firm side, but this is not firm at all. This is very pliable, so I think this will be a good draw. And even if it was firm, they said reviewers have always said that the draw and burn of the cigar was very good as well. So generally I don't think we should be having any problems with this. So appearance is good, smell is very nice, very pleasant and refreshing after many reviews of the Cuban and Nicaraguan cigars. So this should be an interesting diversion. Oh, before I light the cigar, I'd also like to do just a pre-light draw to get some of the flavor profiles and characters of the cigar. I'm just getting a lot of aged tobacco here. I'm getting hints of leather. Generally, again, people haven't said that there is, any hints of leather, but I think that's simply because this cigar was aged for some time, and therefore is producing that on the taste. There's no bitter aftertaste. I'm not even getting any herbal, green or grassy kind of qualities coming through on this. I'm just getting an interesting taste of leather and aged tobacco with a hint of nuttiness. Just torch the foot of the cigar. So on the pre-light draw, just passed it to my friend. And we agreed that this is going to be a nice mellow, preliminary impressions, a nice mellow smoke, some sweetness, get some hay. I said that I'd expect a herbal kind of grassy green quality to it, but not very pronounced. I think that has gone beyond that. It's not going to be tannic in any way, it's just going to be very pleasant and very mild. Probably a good mid-morning or daytime, early daytime smoke. So just get some of the smoke. Even the smoke again is very pleasant. It's a bluish grey, nothing harsh, nothing pungent about it. A very nice way to start the day off, actually, I must say. This kind of aroma coming through. The draw is very good, the burn is very even. I'm getting... It's creamy, I'm getting creamy quality coming through. It's also, again, as I suspected, there's a slight hint of herbal, green, vegetal kind of taste coming through, but not in an unpleasant way. It's just an interesting characteristic of the cigar. It's not tannic. There's a hint of sweetness. Just the slightest hint of a nutty, like ground nut, peanut kind of quality coming through. The aroma is very pleasant. It's gone in about an inch and the flavor's picked up. It's I can pick the sugary sweetness coming through, but like cane sugar, it's natural, it's not artificially made. So there's that hint of sweetness. I'm also picking up that creamy quality and the strength of that herbal, some of the tannins have picked up a bit, but it's not overpowering in any way. So what I'll do is I'll just let this settle in for a moment and just give you a bit of a brief idea about this particular vitola of cigar. Now, as I said, it's a Davidoff private selection. It's actually made in the Davidoff factory in the Dominican Republic. The interesting thing about that is it's been it's viewed as an ungraded Dominican filler and binder leaf. The wrapper is actually Connecticut shade. Again, they're supposedly ungraded, which means, from my understanding of it, that maybe some preliminary checks have been done on the tobacco leaf, but they haven't gone through the rigorous process of assigning, okay, this particular type of leaf goes to the best in the range that we are actually producing. So in that way it's a kind of concern, but not too much of a concern, simply because, as I said earlier, it's made in the Davidoff factory, and that factory also produces the Avo range of cigars and the Griffin range of cigars, and they're considered very premium cigars. Their price certainly reflects that, and their construction quality reflects that. So I have a feeling that the leaf which has been chosen from this for this particular vitola comes within that range, but it's been moved and used for the creation of this particular cigar, whereas the ultra-premium, you could say ultra-premium tobaccos are being used for the Avo, the pure Davidoff, and also the Griffin range of cigars. So it comes from an illustrious stable, and it hasn't disappointed in any way. So far it's been remarkably smooth, it's produced a hint of sweetness, it's got all those things that you want, and ideally this is a good daytime smoke. Perhaps the first cigar in the morning that you'd want to have is something like this, because it just sets you up very nicely throughout the day. Just some really nice flavors coming through. It's rich, but not overpowering. It's got a lot of complexity, but it's smooth and mellow. Now, as I said, this cigar, they use long filler. The filler is Dominican, the binder is Dominican, only the wrapper is Connecticut shade. And again, it's all long fillers. So some of the ash just dropped off, and that was a comment several reviewers have said, but in no way is it bad for the cigar. Flavor-wise, it's nutty, herbal, it's got a subtleness to it, a subtlety, sorry. It's creamy, and it has some sugary sweetnesses as well. In terms of draw and construction, a lot of reviewers have said they expected it to be firm. This certainly wasn't firm, had a good, nice give to it, and the draw is perfect. It's got a nice even burn, and also the wrapper, it was free from blemishes or any other sort of noticeable veins. It provides a nice, steady, flavorful experience with each puff. You're going to get something slightly different, but not too much in terms of vast differences. It's not going to be too aggressively strong. It's actually kind of mild, but it does offer some subtlety and variation. Some commentators have described this as being very similar to a good Zino, also produced by Davidoff. I think the best feature about this cigar, besides these other characteristics, is to actually see it in the context of its price. It's actually priced at 680 rupees per stick, and that, for something that's being offered here, is just remarkable, because the construction, the quality, the attention to detail is all there, and the flavor profile, and even the aroma is just wonderful. You will be paying good money for a Davidoff per se, or even an Avo, or even a Griffin. You're talking about, I think, probably in the 1,000 rupee mark, or just under, for those particular cigars. So for this cigar to be coming in at that price is just unbelievable, and I think that is, its killer selling point. They're able to offer a cigar at that price and at this quality. There's not been much variation in terms of any new flavors and characters coming through the cigar. It's just offering all those subtle flavors one after the other, and depending on which I choose to concentrate on, I'm just picking up those. So what I'll do is I'll get back to you in a short while, and say possibly halfway through the cigar, if not more, and describe my experience of smoking it then. Welcome back. I'm just about halfway through the cigar, and there have been some subtle differences or changes in the flavor and aroma profile. Just get one last puff in before I start my monologue. Simply because it is very good, it is a very good cigar. The first thing is the aroma. It just leaves a wonderful aroma. If you just love the smell of cigars and the smell of cigar smoke, especially if it's fresh, it doesn't matter whether it's Cuban, whether it's Dominican, whether it's Nicaraguan or whatever, this offers it in bundles, and you just immediately feel reassured and comfortable, and you know that everything is all right with the world, even if it isn't. So that's a brilliant feature of the cigar. The second thing is the flavor. It's actually picked up in terms of strength. I'm getting a lot more tannins coming through, and it's certainly picked up in pungency as well. I'm getting a hint of peppery quality coming through, but it's not black pepper. What we've agreed on is it's actually more like white pepper. So it's not as harsh as the black pepper, but again, it just fits in beautifully in the way the company decided to put this cigar together. Okay, they may not be using the premium leaves, which they would use for the Davidoff range per se, or the Zino, or the Avo, or the Griffins, but this is still a wonderful tobacco leaf, and they've just thought this through very clearly. It hasn't varied too much in terms of flavor profile, but it's just offering different flavors and characteristics as you keep going through it. So all in all, still a very, very good experience, very pleasant experience. Yes, the nutty character has dropped down a bit, and the tannins are picking up. Also the sweet aspects, the sugary sweetness, the cane sugar sweetness has also dropped. There is that noticeable presence of that white pepper. I'll just let this settle for some more time and get back to you again in a short while. Right, welcome back, guys. Coming to the end of the nub of the cigar, you could say. Just thought I'd remove the bag. It's been a pleasant experience. This has been a revelation. Everyone was having doubts initially about smoking this. Well, the price, the quality, Dominican. We've been smoking Nicaraguan and Cuban cigars of late, and to be honest, I'm glad, and I'm sure that the lads are glad as well. We've actually tried and experienced the cigar because it has been a revelation. Now, the interesting thing, in comparison to my previous review, when I was at the halfway stage, is that it's toned down again. It's actually tapered in terms of the strength, the qualities. Where I said it was getting a bit tannic and a bit, not harsh, but certainly more pungent, it's actually dropped down. So it's like the final closing of the curtains in a wonderful stage production, or whatever it is. It's just brilliant in that it has a nice start, it has an interesting middle, and it has a beautiful finish. It's just gently tapering off. All those flavors are still there, but they're being toned down now. In terms of the cap and the fact that it had a punch hole rather than being cut, again, no disappointment, because it hasn't overheated. There certainly isn't any oily residue at the end, which tends to produce a very bitter taste on the lips and the tongue when you taste it, which can be off-putting. All in all, a very pleasant cigar and a good daytime smoke. Also, I suggest a cigar which would be good for a novice smoker because it's not overly harsh. It has some interesting flavors and characters coming through, but it won't put you off smoking it. I think it has something to appeal to everyone, novice, intermediate, and seasoned smoker. Seasoned smokers, definitely a good daytime, mid-morning smoke. In fact, probably for me, the first cigar of the day, this would be ideal because it would set up the day perfectly. For an intermediate or certainly a novice smoker, just an experience any time of the day, preferably in the afternoon or the evening, it certainly delivers a lot. In terms of the pairings, my friend Abhilash is just trying it with a nice bourbon. What's your view on that with the bourbon? He's given it a thumbs up, so it goes nicely with a good whiskey as well. I think a sweet whiskey would be a good choice for this. Something like a bourbon from the US, or something from Speyside if you want to choose a Scottish whiskey. And it can take some fairly potent drinks, which is why I suggested whiskey. It's certainly not of the type which requires something milder or something more delicate, like a wine or even a beer. This actually has a lot more to offer. than that, and it can certainly take on these other pairings. In terms of strength, I wouldn't say it's a mild, I'd say it's a medium, and leave it at that. It's certainly not strong, but it certainly has a lot to offer in terms of that strength quality. Therefore, marks out of 10, I'd give it about, this is a difficult one, I'd give it about an 8.5 to 9. Generally I reserve those for Cuban cigars and some exceptional Nicaraguan cigars, but this has been, as I said, a revelation for a number of reasons. The price point, the quality, construction, draw, the burn, and the flavor. It's taken me on a nice experience, and I think it deserves that kind of rating. I'll finish the cigar now because I don't think there'll be very much more going beyond this. So I'd just like to thank you for watching us. Please do subscribe to our channel, Cigarsindia.in. The boys are on Facebook and also on Twitter, so give them a thumbs up on that and a like on Facebook, and hopefully we shall see you again shortly. Thank you for your time.